I'm obviously glad to meet you, Mr. Kyle. I think my work deserves publicity. But I'm surprised that someone from a non-government newspaper should have first access to an adult rehabilitation centre.
Not nearly as surprised as I was.
You must have well-placed friends.
Any friend of mine can usually be found running in the opposite direction, if he's got any sense.
So I've heard.
Thank you. Well, Dr. Gilbert, here I am.
And no barbed wire, no straitjackets, no padded cells. After all, this is 1990. Ah, coffee.
Thank you.
Thank you. You recognise him?
Oh, yes, indeed. New Forest Murders. Name McKechnie. Used to call him the animal.
Well, he was, once. Hacked an old couple to pieces. Milk?
Yeah.
Committed to Broadmoor, as it then was. Paroled twice.
That's right. And then...
He used the same butcher's cleaver to kill 5 more people.
2 of them children, I believe.
But now his door's unlocked, his windows are unbarred, and he grows roses.
All done by kindness. As a matter of fact, I did see some of the police photographs of the victims, at least the bits that McKechnie left. I'll skip the coffee, if you don't mind.
We have found, to an accuracy of 100%, how all the methods discovered over the years really work.
I'd be most interested to know why you, Miss Lomas, on behalf of my public control department, gave Kyle credentials to go nosing around somewhere as politically sensitive as an adult rehabilitation centre.
Rope. For Kyle to hang himself. And favourable publicity for once. I looked at the Mayfield ARC first. Manicured lawns, velvet glove service, and daily prayers to inner cleanliness. Kyle will spit all the way back to London.
He'd better. Home Secretary on his way up. Trouble.
He's only a politician, Herbert. All you have to do is to let him talk.
In that case, Miss Lomas, you'd better stay. If Dan Mellor needs scapegoats, you and Tasker are, after all, junior to me.
Hello, Herbert. How are you? And you, Miss Lomas? And what's my key department up to this fine, public-spirited morning?
We were discussing a journalist visit to one of the new adult rehabilitation centres.
Oh, that's cosmic. Real think tank and wet towel stuff. Know why I'm here?
No, Home Secretary.
Because you didn't come to me first thing with this. Of the diplomatic pout from New York an hour ago. And you have a duplicate.
Our man on external affairs, Henry Tasker, is on leave, Home Secretary. His subordinate's thorough, but a little slow.
He'll be motionless by the time I've finished with him. Behind the counter at the village post office.
Yes, Grayling, I'm aware there is a matter of some urgency in the pouch. I believe it's about to be brought to my attention.
Damn right, with the volume up.
No, that is. Of course. Charles Wainwright, General Secretary of the Met Attorneys Union, ex-president of the TUC. addressing this year's Federation of International Trade Unionists in America. We arranged the British delegation.
Brothers.
You arranged more than that.
And fellow union members, I'm supposed to be up here to oppose a resolution from 17 countries that Britain should in future be excluded from the International Federation of Trade Unions. I can't oppose it. It says we're in violation of the Federation Charter on Fundamental Human Rights. I can't deny that. We are. I'm supposed to read this. I can't. It's a load of mindless drivel justifying a new form of oppression, and I wouldn't insult you with it. We've all believed for too long in the real brotherhood of man for me to do that. First, I would like to support the resolution to expel Britain from this federation. Let that vote be so registered, Mr. Chairman. Second, I'd like to make a real speech. I'd better get it right, because it'll probably be my last. I live in a country where freedom is just a word in a dictionary. I live in a sceptred isle surrounded by barbed wire. But a British Parliament of 400, put in by that 20% of the electorate who bothered to vote, is a rubber stamp for a faceless civil service with the sort of power Genghis Khan would have envied. Where the trade union movement connives and lickspittles to the bureaucrats in exchange for security and privilege and seats on the committees, where if you don't hold a union card, you starve. Where jobs, food, and housing are rationed. Now, this isn't the sort of promised land we signed on for, brothers. It's a land where the history books are being rewritten. It's a land where the best brains were driven out by penal taxation, and the few we've got left are forbidden to leave and have to get out through illegal escape routes. It's a land where every jack in office can walk into a citizen's home and turn it upside down, where habeas corpus is extinct and the rule of law can be wiped out by one signature under an emergency measure.
The equipment looks a bit old-fashioned, I'm afraid, but it's been effective for donkey's years.
Donkey's years.
Electroconvulsive therapy. The patient's been given a general anaesthetic and a muscle relaxant, and his tongue's been rubber gagged to stop him swallowing it. Now we're going to pass an electric charge through his brain.
And his nose lights up. Oh, sorry, Doctor. All hospitals bother me.
Well, this is not a hospital. However, your layman's reaction's understandable. What you're going to see now is the equivalent of a mild epileptic fit.
Oh, good, I can't wait for that. Brave new world.
The lackeys in pinstripe suits from the Public Control Department should have dragged me off by now. If this had been a British platform, they would have done. So, well, I'll finish with an apology. I've been 35 years in the trade union movement, and I've been proud of every year except the last 7. From the crisis of '83, when my country tore up its constitution and the Magna Carta, when we went bankrupt and welshed on every debt we'd ever run up, when the world's moneylenders turned their backs on us, and rightly, when we became the outlaws of civilization, cringing in an island cave. Well, for those 7 years, brothers, I'm sorry. Goodbye, brothers, and rule Britannia.
At best insane, at worst treasonable.
He made one good point. Your surveillance boys should have collared him, said he was drunk or something. Why didn't they?
Because they would probably have been lynched by the Free World delegates, and the scandal would have been exacerbated.
As this department will be if you don't sweep up this Wainwright mess a bit quick.
May I remind you, Home Secretary, that this department was responsible only for drawing up and vetting a short list of delegates to the New York Congress. You made the final decision.
That's right. But there's room for more than one neck on a chopping block. Remember it.
I remember only, Home Secretary, that you are elected and I am appointed by Cabinet. Senior civil servants have always had a notoriously longer lifespan than their masters.
And a lot of that lifespan can be made very miserable, so listen. I want Wainwright in my office the minute his Concorde's wheels stop rolling, if not before!
If he's on it.
What's going on over there?
A renovation of the new recuperative wing. Still classified, I'm afraid.
Well, something had to be.
Doctor, red agent for you.
Thank you, Halloran. See that Mr. Kyle gets away, will you?
Yes, sir. May I see your authority to visit, Mr. Kyle?
I've already shown it to your boss. I've no intention of brandishing my identity to every jumped-up male nurse.
I'm also a PCD officer, sir.
Well, that's understandable. Like the old KGB setup, eh? Every institution has its party watchdog. I've got it. Halloran, of course. Now, you made your name in Manchester, that right? And the Moonlight Squad. It was not long after it was made illegal for anybody to have more than one job. And you used to specialize in painters and decorators. Wait till somebody was 20 foot up in the air and kick the ladder away.
Just doing my job, sir. Same as you.
Oh, no, not quite the same as me, Halloran. I like to sleep at night. I shouldn't think that's very easy, having spent a hard day breaking legs.
What are you up to, Nichols?
The investigation you asked for into Leisure Centre 28.
I want you to double passenger control at Heathrow and personally supervise the arrival of one Charles Wainwright.
If he's arrived.
He's embarked. I checked.
Fools rush in.
Discreetly, Nichols. You will use the fully monitored diplomatic vehicle. You will sit with Wainwright and be as affable as is compatible with your character.
Yes, sir. May I ask reason for picking up subject?
No, you may not. On this occasion, you're better off as a genial motorized cavalryman. Yours not to reason why.
Well, some parts of Heathrow are rather like the Crimea, no, sir?
We now check very carefully that no one makes public any videotape of the Wainwright speech.
Unlikely. Except for Kyle.
What's the matter with you, dandruff?
No, just wondering what it felt like to have electrodes up there.
Oh, was Mayfield any good? Or Dr. Gilbert?
Clean as a whistle, kosher as a bar mitzvah, ethical as the Sermon on the Mount.
Well, keep trying. When Skardon's lot hand out facilities, it's got to be a three-card trick. Well, that can wait. Now look at this. Oh, leave the sound. It's a bit tatty. Here's a transcript. One can't use it, of course. Section 5, Public Control Act. Importation and publication of any foreign media subject matter which is unapproved, punishable by imprisonment, compulsory bankruptcy, and the removal of all state privileges.
Yes.
I'll be banning cowboy films next in case people remember what the good guys look like.
We're better off working for Skardon's lot.
Well, we are in a way. 80% of our advertising's controlled by the state. They can fold us up tomorrow.
Yeah, Tiny, what are we going to do about this?
Well, get an interview with Wainwright, authenticate the voice print, and publish it. Problem. And find somebody Wainwright trusts.
Answer, Dave. No. All right, Tommy. Impersonation time. Go and get yourself a nice Indian meal.
Not again.
We have this little tandoori joint we use. It's called the Star of Bradford.
I hate horse meat.
Beats betting on it.
What about my luggage?
That's being attended to, Mr. Wainwright.
Search for political dirty books, you mean? Well, this is civil of the PCD, I must say. What is it? Red carpet or handcuffs?
Mr. Skardon made all the arrangements personally, sir.
I bet he did.
Oh, did you have a good trip to America?
Your gaffers know what sort of a trip I had. Otherwise, they wouldn't have sent this mobile broadcasting van for me. Are you there, Herbert? How's the Snoopers' army these days? How's the draft from all them keyholes?
He'll find out. Easy now, Skardon. Velvet glove first. And I'll wear it.
Sure, I know Charles Wainwright. From the days when he and my old man were fire-breathing organizers together. Now everything's nationalized, they do it by memo. He was best man at my father's wedding.
You still see him? Oh, come on, Dave, it's important.
Who for, you?
Could be. Mostly for Wainwright.
I bring him in the odd foreign report and magazine. Nothing sinister, union stuff, just that it's banned here.
Can you set up a meeting?
With you, that won't be easy. Calls you a rag, the last gasp of reaction, that is.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes think he's right.
Besides, I thought our job was getting people out.
Still is, and you know it. I've got to see him tonight.
Tonight? Well, my next trick will be at Lowe's and Fish's.
Tomorrow may be too late.
PCD.
Oh, blow. Well, if it is not the delectable Miss Lomas, the PCD's leading lady.
In person. Your friend disappeared in a hurry.
He's shy.
Needs to be if he drinks imported brandy of this quality.
He's a shy connoisseur. Jolly nice to see you.
I'm working. The department has doubts about the clientele here. Looks as if it was right.
Well, not on my account, surely. Leisure centres aren't in my line. And too antiseptic. I used to like pubs. Especially the old ones, sawdust on the floor, people laughing. There's always some hammer-fingered pianist playing Lily of Laguna.
Obsolete. I prefer these centres, where citizens are graded according to their importance to society, and drink accordingly.
Spirits for shop stewards and civil servants only. Wine for local authority form pushers, and beer for essential pros. And the undeserving poor, without status cards, can queue all night outside state pharmacies. Guinea pigs for happy pills.
Recreation should be directed as well as work. Except in status areas.
Yes. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Well, I look forward to a return visit to your cellar.
When you're thirsty enough, Kyle. And in my time.
Well, if I had a talking picture of Wainwright. Thank you.
Goodbye, brothers. And rule Britannia.
Real Nye Bevan stuff, Charlie. And most embarrassing for the government, as you must have known it would be. Not like you, Charlie. Gensec of one of this country's biggest unions. Not on.
I couldn't spot the rubbish the PCD gave me. Not to real trade unionists. They deserve the truth. They know it anyway.
What truth, Charlie? A standing ovation from a bunch of foreigners.
We were the dissenters once, Stan. The lodge banners at the Durham Miners' Gala. The picket lines, the negotiations, the belief. We were there.
And we won!
Won? When everybody does what the PCD tells them.
We've got ombudsman's courts, people's tribunals.
Ah, that bicycle bell that made more noise. It was a damn sight more use than that lot put together. You remember Sweden? 75, wasn't it? Everybody had a number. There was a data terminal in every police car. If they picked you up, a computer spilled your whole life's history in 10 seconds. Every detail. Now, we all said it couldn't happen here. But it has.
Progress, Charlie. You'll never change that.
I don't want to. Just push it along the right lines.
Skardon thought you might ask for political asylum in the States.
He would. And I was offered it. By 4 countries. But I'll not turn cold, Dan. Oh, I'll toe the party line. But I'll still work for what I believe.
I had a job to stop the cabinet stamping you flat and using you for Lionel. On a treason charge. I said I'd handle it. And this is how. I respect your views. We've known each other long enough. But I want your word that when this American speech leaks out...
If it doesn't get jammed, and we've got the most powerful equipment since Stalin.
All right. If it leaks out, you'll deny it. Say it was a put-up job, and there'll be no more speeches or statements like it in this country.
I can't promise that, Dan.
But it needn't alter your beliefs. You can still work at them. But at the top, and privately, and in rooms like this. Your word, Charlie.
You've got it.
And it's been good enough for me for 30-odd years. Well, you heard it. What do you think, Doctor? Megalomania?
No, Home Secretary, nothing as complex as that. Just common garden idealism. Quite simple to treat.
You're quite sure the results of the Mayfield experiment are complete?
Clinically and statistically, Mr. Skardon, my professional reputation doesn't allow any margin for either guesswork or error. Jesuit 1990. Give me a misguided person for 7 days, and I will give him to any creed of my choosing.
Our choosing, Doctor.
Yes, of course. I'm sorry.
All right, Herbert, you better lift Wainwright and get him down to this mine laundry of Dr. Gilbert's. Nice and quiet. He's still an important man with lots of pull. Thank you, Doctor. The cover-up will need some working out. Very, very careful.
About time. Why the middle of Hyde Park? You know it's patrolled.
Old time's sake, Mr. Kyle. Spring, daffodils, young lovers, the groomed horses cantering in Rotten Row.
You have something for me?
You're nervous, Kyle, not like you.
Yes, I've been studying mental health lately.
Yes, I know. Liberal indoctrination in the Mayfield ARC. You were only there for a day. It used to be a stately home, you know, till wealth tax ruined the owner. He's a cleaner in a bus garage now.
Serves him right. He shouldn't have been patriotic enough to want to live where he was born. You have something for me?
Mayfield is due to take in its first really important patient quite soon.
Charles Wainwright.
Oh, you've been studying telepathy too. Wainwright it is.
Keep your wool on, Charlie, will you? I'm not talking to him. Got a headline merchant.
Don't if you don't want to. Just listen, all right?
Mr. Wainwright.
What's he want?
He wants an interview. Confirming the gist of the speech you made in America.
Nothing doing. That was America. This is here. And God knows how you found out, anyway.
You still believe what you said there?
Yeah. I told the Home Secretary so.
Big Bull Dan, the big police pal.
Why didn't you take political asylum? Why did you come back?
Simple. Nobody ever improved a society from outside. I belong here.
Then give me an interview. Let me help.
Not a chance.
While there's still time, Mr. Wainwright, the PCD are going to put their clamps on you, and you will stay clamped. You're down for the Adult Rehabilitation Centre at Mayfield.
If you believe that, you've been on too many of these new funny bone pills.
PCD, come on. Look, Charlie, they want you.
You run if you like. I've no need to scuttle out of back doors. Dan Mellor said I'd be all right. He won't break his word.
Come on.
PCD, Mr. Wainwright.
I know you are.
We'd like you to come with us. Just routine.
Routine? Well, in that case, I'll just finish these sandwiches.
A very efficient and circumstantial tissue of lies. Thorough. I like that.
Thank you, Home Secretary.
Come in, Mr. Griffith. Sit you down. Good of you to get here at such short notice. I'd like your advice as Assistant Gen Sec of the Metal Turners.
Well, I'll do what I can, Home Secretary.
I know you will, lad. I've heard some good reports of you. Though I'm afraid it's not going to be very pleasant for any of us. Oh, this is Miss Lomas from the Public Control Department.
Oh, how'd you do?
It concerns your General Secretary's recent trip to America. Our surveillance people turned up some very disturbing facts. Wainwright's drinking, for example.
He never touches it.
Not in public. In private, he's a bottle-a-day man. Then there's the question of his expenses and currency allowance. Not just this trip, the last half dozen. On a deep audit, there's clear evidence of evasion and fraud.
I don't believe it. Somebody's making this up.
I don't think you mean that, Mr. Griffith. I hope not.
No. No, I'm very sorry.
Oh, the lad's upset. I know I was.
There are details here of a bank account in the Swiss Lux Federation. As you know, it is an offence punishable by imprisonment for any British citizen to bank abroad.
Well, what are we going to do?
That's what I wanted to talk to you about. Thank you, Miss Lomas.
Oh, sit down, what's that?
Bit of a facer, isn't it? I've known Charlie Wainwright 30-odd years. I blame myself, you know. I should have seen he was working too hard. He was bound to crack. Here. I know I need one.
He's in real trouble, though, isn't he?
Unless we can get him out of it.
We?
Yes. I'll try and cover for him. Charlie's served his country too well to end up like this. I'm going to plead ill health for him. He might have to admit to a few things and, of course, resign as Gen Sec of the Metal Turners.
Oh, he'll never do that. He's got 5 years to run, and the executive will support him, right or wrong.
That's where you come in. Call an emergency meeting. We'll get around the individuals first. You know the drill. Use the corridors. A word here, in there. It's for Charlie's good.
I'll try.
You'll do it, lad. Then you'll be acting General Secretary for the rest of Charlie's term. And that's a nice ripe plum for someone of your age. Yeah. Why was I born squeamish?
It's the inside of someone's skull. All the highways and byways down which electroconvulsive therapy can trot.
Well, I'll stick to street maps. Whose skull?
Could be Wainwright. Now he's been picked up with a PCD, perhaps he'll give me an interview.
If you can find him.
Oh, I can find him. I'm on my way.
They're the photographs you asked for of Wainwright.
Thank you, Tommy. Who told you to cut your hair?
Nobody, I thought.
Well, in future, don't think. Ask.
You don't need me to tell you that lot's a pack of lies, put together by experts.
Isn't that your signature on the Swiss Lux Bank document?
You know it isn't. That's the PCD forgery mob. All right, Dan. You want a show trial? You've got one. Ivor. I want a full executive and delegate meeting of the union. I want fraternal subpoenas on all union leaders who were with me on these trips when I was supposed to be a drunken expense fiddler. Go on, get on with it.
The meeting's already been held, Mr. Wainwright.
At my instigation.
I gave you my word, Dan. I'd have kept my mouth shut. You won back on yours.
Words, Charlie. Don't be a simpleton. I needed time to think. I want your resignation and a full recantation of past mistakes.
Then you can want forever. I'm going to get out of this fancy dress, and I'm going to thump on every union door in this country.
Sedation, Halloran.
What about after?
I know your problem, Home Secretary, and I can assure you it will be resolved quite easily. As usual, Halloran, selective application of calibrated ECT at 5-second intervals. Ready?
Yes, sir. Now.
Now.
You look like a refugee from a jumble sale.
You can work a tape recorder, I presume?
Everybody can. Just can't write these days. What's the gadget?
Authenticates the voice print. Prove that it is Wainwright. Hold the cutters.
Hey, that's an alarm wire. Mr. Brett, why don't you find your grandmother and teach her?
Top confidential. The only 3 known copies of Wainwright's American Outburst. to be destroyed on the Home Secretary's express order.
Certainly, Mr. Skardon.
Will you sign to that effect?
Certainly.
And if one copy should happen to find its way into our private dossier on the Home Secretary, I'm sure it'll be convincingly relabeled.
I'd thought of marking it insurance.
Accurate, if not imaginative.
I wish I could be sure there weren't any pirate tapes.
Your obsession with Kyle's omnipresence is becoming tiresome. However, Kyle. Thank you. Having dinner. Tandoori again. You'll ruin his lower intestine with all that spicy food.
Sooner the better.
Oh, and the latest visual on him reports he's had his hair cut.
When? That doesn't show on any surveillance report. Where? How?
I dare tell you, I'm not his barber.
I better check on Wainwright.
Where'd you get that, a vet? Yeah. Now drag him behind that wall there. With a bit of luck, he'll get pneumonia.
Who are you? I've taken my tablets. I don't want to go to sleep yet. Who are you?
Charlie. Dave Brett. Ted Brett's son. Remember Ted, do you? You grew up with him in Liverpool. When the trams used to run along Scotland Road. There was a boozer on every corner. Remember? Look.
Ted Murray. Murray.
Maggie. Maggie Collingwood. Me mother. Look, there's you at the wedding. Remember? And there's you at a works outing. On a platform.
Something to do with the Union. Union?
Union, that's it. You were a convener.
Yes. I'm at a scrambler phone now, not very pleased at being disturbed. Who is that? Oh, PCD, I'm so sorry, I didn't realise. What? Oh, well, yes, Miss Lomas, I'll check on Wainwright straight away, but Halloran's with him, one of your own officers. He... No, Miss Lomas, I wouldn't presume to argue. I'll do it at once. Hold on, please. General Alarm! Supervision squad over to the new wing immediately.
Let's find a bastard that runs this place and jog his head loose permanently.
Later. Go. Come on, go.
That doesn't sound very promising.
ECT has scrambled his head. His mind's in pieces. But Dave's picked up enough for me to work on. Now listen.
The American speech, Charlie, this is what you said. I live in a country where a British Parliament put in by that 20% of the electorate who bothered to vote is a rubber stamp for a faceless civil service with the sort of power Genghis Khan would have envied. As scepter the Isle, surrounded by barbed wire, best brains driven out. That's it. That's better.
Tiny, I can put it together. And the legal boys, that well-known firm of Wait a Minute, Caution and No, have cleared the voice print. We can publish.
Well, perhaps. I hold you responsible, Skardon. What sort of a free circus are you running, eh? One of your own best men with his skull fractured and somebody ambling in like a Sunday afternoon to chat to Wainwright. You called this public control? And Herbert reckons Wainwright regained some degree of retentive rationality, whatever that means.
May I?
Oh, make yourself at home. Got a clean shirt in the drawer if you want it.
Not my size. Dr. Gilbert? Lomas, PCD. I want an accurate forecast of the time required by you to rectify, how shall I put it, the unfortunate setback in Charles Wainwright's condition. I am not interested in the professional ethics of intensive treatment. I require merely results and a time. I see, thank you.
Well, that's the medical report and 3 cheers. We still don't know what Charlie Wainwright said or who'll use it.
Nobody, Home Secretary. I'd like you to announce a mandatory public service telecast for 9 o'clock this evening.
Eh?
Just a few notes. Guidelines, no more. On what you might like to say.
Might work.
There's no good waving our glasses about and gasping. If you want to drink, you'll have to watch the telly first. You know I'm not allowed to serve during public service broadcasts.
Citizens of Britain, I would now like your full attention for a mandatory public service telecast by the Home Secretary, the Right Honourable Dan Mellor, MP.
Fellow citizens, I won't take up much of your valuable leisure time. You know me, I believe in plain words and plain actions. My role tonight's just to introduce one of the most respected figures in our society towards progress. Charles Wainwright, General Secretary of that spirited and vital union, the Metal Turners.
Fellow citizens and brothers in the trade union movement, I've come to you with a problem which has been worrying me for a while now. I've had full and frank consultations with my good friend Dan Mellor, with my loyal and hard-working Assistant Secretary Ivor Griffith, and with the dedicated executive of my union. I'm not getting any younger, and my health isn't what it was.
It's not Charlie Wainwright.
Surprise. I've started to make mistakes. As you all know, it is the patriotic duty of every Briton to assess his own job fitness, answerable to his local job grading tribunal. I've done that. I don't measure up anymore. My sad duty tonight is to resign formally as Gen Sec of the Metal Turners, position I'd been proud to hold for
Well, that's blown it. Printers, please. Yes, Mr. Summers, I saw it. Look, rip out that story of Kyle's, will you, and put in that preset about import controls, lowering living standards. I know it's got whiskers on it, but we've got nothing else.
I've tried to set an example all my working life. I'd like to end my career still setting that example. Thank you, fellow citizens and brothers, and rule Britannia.
Bastards. Charlie Wainwright. The zombie. I remember him singing Jerusalem. He meant it.
Not now.
Kyle.
Yeah?
If ever they put me into one of those places, get in somehow and kill me.
Well done, Charlie. One of the best speeches you've ever made.
Congratulations, Mr. Wainwright.
Who are you?